What's going on, beautiful kings and queens, gods and goddesses? Kimu JTD with you here today. Nah, you know, as always, I always got some great stuff to share with y'all. So I'm gonna just get right into it. And today we're gonna talk. I got 5 tips for y'all on how to break out of the individualistic construct that society has placed on us. And I'm gonna start off with the first tip. But I can't believe I forgot. PLH, peace, love, and happiness with you all day, every day. If I said it, it's double the positivity. So we gonna jump into it right now. And the number one tip is realizing that we are one. We are all one. We come from the same source. We come from the same energy. We all are made up of energy. No matter whether human being or plant, animal, soil, stones, rocks, whatever the case may be, we are all one. We have to start treating ourselves as such. It is one of the laws of the universe that we are all one. We come from the same source. We're all energy. We exist everywhere and anywhere just because of the fact that we come from the same source. So I am you, you are me, yet we have different identity. And me realizing in my transition stage, while I was in my stage of going from a caterpillar to being in my cocoon now, and making my cocoon, I realized that we are one. That I realized that in studying Egyptology, what they call mysticism, the origins of a lot of things, that they all have the same derivation, that they all see things the same way. But the separation, the individuality that has been placed upon us has caused us to see it differently. But we got to realize that we're all one. We all come from the same source, and we're all made from the same energy. We're all a construct of the universe's energy. So when we realize that, then it becomes a whole lot easier to break out of that individualistic construct. So that brings us to tip number 2, to break free of the individualistic construct. And that second tip is understanding how our energy impacts each other. And that goes along with the law of cause and effect, in which if I do something, it's going to affect you in some way, shape, or form. Realizing that our energy, through thoughts, through feelings, emotions, which is energy and motion, they impact not only just you but other people. And when I began to form my cocoon and understand how my actions were impacting other people, it became a different experience. It opened my eye to realizing how I need to change and how I need to distribute my energy, who I need to distribute my energy, where do I need to go or exit from consuming other energy. And from a self perspective, I had to realize that me, Kimu JTD, has its own energy going on. We don't realize that our first thoughts in the morning shape the way that we move throughout the day. If we believe that we're having a bad day, more than likely you're going to have a bad day because you're attracting that negativity from the universe. We're very sensitive. The universe is very sensitive. And the universe is always going to give you what you're attracting. Whatever you attract, you're not ready for. You're always ready for. So that energy that you distribute, your feelings in the morning, never start off on ground zero, because you should always want to start off at 100, because it's easier to get to 100 after being on 100 than it is from getting from 0 to 100. Look at that. Look at that. We don't want to go from 0 to 100 real quick. We want to be at 100 and stay at 100. Maybe we go down 90. Maybe we go down 80. But we still we get back to 100. It's still positive. So we want to always be on that 100% or higher than 0 and realize how our energy impacts other people. And that'll take us to the third tip that I have to break free of the individualistic matrix that has been imposed on us. And that is to get rid of the competition. I grew up on basketball my entire life. I grew up on sports. My dad helped me with everything that came with sports, whether it's basketball, track, football, baseball, whatever it was. He knew how to play it, and therefore he taught me. But I had to realize, even when it comes to board games, even when it comes to video games, when it comes to sports, that competitive nature hindered my true nature so much that it caused me to sit on a frequency of fear. It caused me to sit on a frequency of anger. It caused me to sit on so many primitive, negative energy that I didn't want. So I went into isolation. I stopped doing the things that I enjoyed as a caterpillar: sports, board games, video games. And I just stopped. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to be a part of those things. And I just did a lot of unplugging. I unplugged from that from competitive activities. And I definitely had to say it was definitely beneficial, because when I plugged back in, I saw how people reacted to the competitive nature. Because before, I didn't understand it. But when I saw it and I realized that I used to react in the same way, I used to react with anger. I used to react with the idea of I have to win. And if I don't win, I won't be satisfied, because I was a sore loser. And also, it causes competition can cause you to place fault on other people, especially when your pride gets in the way. So unplugging from that competitive nature, or even you don't necessarily have to unplug, but the best way to be able to just exist in the activity and not to think about it as I have to win, it's best to unplug, because then when you replug, you'll be able to shift your mindset and not feel like you have to win to be satisfied, and just realize that I just gotta do it. When I went back into playing basketball and I was just doing it for fun, I was just doing it for the camaraderie, to be around people, it was easy for me to do. It was easy for me to maneuver, and it felt enjoyable. So that's what I gotta share with y'all, is get out of that competitive nature and just enjoy the activity for what it is. And that's gonna bring us to my fourth tip, in which that is to be more mindful of who you are. It ties in the other tips that I've spoken about, in which we have to be mindful of the energy that we're putting out. I realize that I'm an empath. And when I have when I'm consumed with some type of negative energy, it becomes very destructive for more positive energy, for more positive environments. But I also had to realize that even from an active standpoint of view, I have to get away from being on a negative space. Or if I'm in a grocery store, don't stop where I am and just continue and send a text message. Move to the side so other people can get through. And I had to realize that I have to be mindful. I have to be conscious of the things that I do and the things that I say and the things that I think. Because as I said, as within, so without. So being mindful and being cognizant of our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, our inactions, whatever the case may be, they affect us, but they also affect the people around us. And I'm sure, unless you're a type of person who wants to attract negative energy, who loves being around negative energy, who loves creating negative energy, which I hope you don't, but being mindful and understanding how that impacts other people around you is very important. And then that brings us to the last tip, which is, it's a wonderful tip. This is so important because when I realized it, I really decided that I had to change. And that was the only way that change is going to happen is having a team. When we look at a lot of people who change lives, whether it be Marcus Garvey, whether it be Malcolm X, whether it be presidents. We can even look at a lot of heroes. Superman, Flash, whomever. They had a team. Even Batman had some sort of a team. As much as he didn't want to, he still had a team. Alfred, he needed Alfred. He needed Robin. We have to realize that in order to make change for peace and inside yourself, you need supporters. You need people to help build you up. You need people to inspire you. And when I realized that I needed a team in order to change, in order to to reach my greatest potential, I had to find people who inspire me to do what they're doing, or who are inspired to do what I'm doing. Because I'm different, they're different, you're different, but at the same time, we have to be a team in order to get peace, and that starts with you. It doesn't start with me. Your change doesn't start with me. Your change starts with you. So understanding that and realizing that all the preceding tips that I've given all funnel into this one to change, that you need a team. It's a team effort. And understanding that as within, so without, we can all jump on that same frequency. And don't just take my word for it. Find a way to get these tips practical for your life, how they work for you. Do your own research. And then when I hopefully meet you one day, we're sharing that positive energy. We can all have a party. We can have a PLH party, because you know that PLH stands for peace, love, and happiness all day, every day. Kimu JTD with you all day, every day. You know, as usual, peace.